worst thing about losing to someone to suicide is the fact that they didn't call you, that they didn't feel that you would be able to help them in their last minutes. And this can be very, very devastating. So one of the things you need to understand is that when someone does take their own life, that they are very ill, and that's between them and God. It was never between you and them anyhow. The most important thing after a suicide is to just breathe and to understand that there was probably a multitude of things that caused your person to make that final decision. You need to look at these things. Were they on drugs? Were they self-medicating? Were they drinking a lot of alcohol? Was their medication, if any, good enough for them? When you have a look at all these factors, you may start to see a pattern of abuse, perhaps in the intoxication forms. This will definitely have caused a chemical imbalance in your person's mind. So please be very, very aware of that whatever they were doing to their bodies may have caused this chemical imbalance. Sometimes when someone kills themselves, there's all of these people who have got all of these stories about everything that happened, and there's a frantic scrabble by everyone who loved the person to try and find out what were the last moments, what happened in the last moments to push my person over the edge to make that final decision. As a medium, I quite often tune into people who've taken their own life, and it's very rare that they can even seem to recollect a lot of their last moments. And I put that down to the fact that they may be very confused, overly emotionally distraught, and this is what I think. I think that maybe they just can't quite remember what it was that pushed them to the last limit. The last thing you should do as a parent or family or friend of someone who takes their own life is start pointing the finger. When you start pointing the finger at other people and telling them that it's their fault, what you're actually doing is you were just jumping straight into a grief, into a very, very angry pattern, and it's not going to solve anything. The truth is, it is what it is. Your person is where they are, and you need to accept that. You need to accept it very fast. When you start to accuse other people of being the straw that broke the camel's back, you really have no place doing that, because you don't know what the stories that broke the camel's back, no matter what the Chinese whispers around the area are saying. So you have to be very careful of that. What I would say, focusing on after someone dies, is how much you love them, because sending them love will surely make them feel a lot better when they are actually in the spirit land. You need to also focus on yourself and be very, very kind to yourself, and understand that under no circumstances should you ever take any blame for what happened because your person was unwell. You will get very angry at your person, and that's understandable. Let that anger go. Be angry at them for a little while. Just call them what you want to call them, because it's natural that you feel that way, that maybe they were a bit selfish, that maybe they didn't consider you. But you've got to remember that it was never about you. It was always about their own inability to accept themselves as being on the right track, or doing the right thing, or being the right person. A lot of these people who take their own lives, they feel like they're a bit of a square peg in a round hole, and that can be a most uncomfortable feeling. I've had countless people sit before me saying, but there was no signs. That's very, very common. Your person may have masked their pain from you for a very particular reason, because they really did not want you to know how they were feeling. You cannot look at anyone and see how they're thinking, so don't even think for a second that you should have been a mind reader when your person took their life, because you can't even look at your husband or wife and know exactly what they're thinking. So how could you have known what they're thinking? Excuse yourself, forgive yourself for not being a mind reader. That's very, very important that you do that. There are so many, a lot of times what will happen too is you might know that they were depressed, and all of a sudden they get really happy, and you think that the worst is over, and all the worry you've had about them maybe doing it passes away, and then all of a sudden they do it. A lot of people who take their own life get very, very excited about the fact, and they will act very happy right before. Don't think that you didn't see anything. Don't think that you missed anything. So the most important thing to remember with grief after suicide is you were not, and you are not, a mind reader. You cannot read their minds. Be very, very kind to yourself. Don't spend time, wasted time, looking for reasons why your person took their own life. If you want to get all that grief and channel it into something, channel into the fight against suicide. Channel into the fight against depression, and see if we can't help prevent some other families from having someone they love take their own life. Now, I hope this has been very informative to you, and I hope this helps you very much. And just remember, the big key words is be kind to you. You're a good person, you deserve good things, and you deserve happiness again. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope that I will see you next time on my YouTube channel, Spirit Matters.